Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. I'm Reverend Theresa Feeberts, and here at Cultural Coast, I want to tell you who we are for a moment. We're a vibrant spiritual community, engaged in peace, love, diversity, inclusion, authenticity, and creative self-expression. And we invite an expanded conscious awareness of the divine presence within all life. Our vision is a world that has awakened to its spiritual magnificence, people who know the interrelatedness and the interconnectedness of all life, resulting in a world that works for everyone and all of creation. And I know who you are too. You're a unique, authentic, individualized, unlike anyone else in the entire world, divine expression of the one power and presence, the one source and substance of life itself. That's who you are. And so I thank you for joining us this morning. I thank you for tuning in and for playing in this thing called life with us. Centers for Spiritual Living all over the globe have selected for their 2021 theme, Timeless Wisdom Evolutionary Vision. And so that's what we'll be discussing all year long in some way, shape, or form. We'll be looking at the foundation upon which science of mind was discovered or developed. And we'll be contemplating where we're going from here, both individually and collectively. So we're going to be looking at people like Ralph Waldo Emerson and Emma Curtis Hopkins and those that preceded the thought of Ernest Holmes, and also looking to the horizon with Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle and Marianne Williamson and other modern day mystics. And today we're looking at the here and now. Today we're bringing it very present and real into what we're experiencing, because as we begin our journey into the new year, we want to take this time to look in the present moment, here and now, at where we are. Where are we in our consciousness? Where are we in our looking forward even? Where are we? So we want to take a genuine, deep look right now. And we began that last week. So we're going to look at ourselves and our community and our movement to see if we're poised. If we're poised for a positive presence in the world. If we're poised to meet today's challenges. If we're poised to accept all the infinite possibilities that are before us. And so let us begin with that intention right here and right now, to recognize that to be poised is to simply be available to the presence, which is, to that divine expression of God, whatever we choose to call it, spirit, source, energy. It is the very vitality of my life. And what I know for myself, I know for each person on this call right here and right now. I know for each person that tunes in later. I know this truth for everyone, that each one of us is a unique, talented, brilliant, beautiful expression of the divine. And I just marvel. I just marvel at the possibilities of each one of us showing up, shining brightly. What a beautiful world. I'm going to claim that truth for us right here and right now, that as we begin this new year together, still in January, midway in January, that our lights shine brightly. That our lights shine brightly. And so it is. And so one of our bright lights in our community is Elaine Silver, and Elaine Silver is here with us this morning as practitioner and also as our musical guest. So here she is, Elaine Silver.
Good morning, everybody. So one of the things that I love to talk about is universal law. And these high vibrational frequencies occur when we experience gratitude, joy, love, willingness, peace, bliss. So this one is called Lifted and Feeling Free. imagine the fiddle here? Gratitude invokes the law of increase. Gratitude brings me inner peace. I'm knowing this truth enthusiastically. I'm lifted and I'm feeling free. Joy invokes the law of increase. Focus on the good intent and then release. I am lifted and I'm feeling free. I'm loving my life enthusiastically. Love invokes the law of increase. Loving myself brings me inner peace. Knowing this truth enthusiastically. I'm lifted and I'm feeling free. More fiddle here. Use your imagination. Willingness invokes the law of increase. Focus on the good intent and then release. I am lifted and I'm feeling free. I'm living my life enthusiastically. Gratitude invokes the law of increase. Gratitude brings me inner peace. I'm knowing this truth enthusiastically. I'm lifted and I'm feeling free. Knowing this truth enthusiastically, I'm lifted and I'm feeling free. I'm lifted and I'm feeling free. You can sing on this part with me. I'm lifted and I'm feeling free. It's a great affirmation. I'm lifted and I'm feeling free. One more time. I'm lifted and I'm feeling free. Okay.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Reverend Jackie Riker, and I have a reading this morning. This excerpt is from one of those modern day mystics, like Theresa mentioned. His name is Ken Wilber, and he's a mystic and a philosopher. And this excerpt was sent to me on January 1st, 2000. So it was the beginning of this millennia, and it has become kind of like a mantra for me. So I'm happy to share it with you. And this earth becomes a blessed being, and every I becomes a God, and every we becomes God's most sincere worship, and every it becomes God's most gracious temple. And comes to rest that godless search, tormented and tormenting. The knot in the heart of the cosmos relaxes to allow its only God, and overflows the spirit, ravished and enraptured by the lost and found beloved. And gone the godless destiny of death and desperation, and gone the madness of a life committed to uncare, and gone the tears and terror of the endless days and brutal nights where time alone would rule. And I rise to chase the dawn, to find that love alone will shine today. And the shining says to love it all, and love it madly, and always endlessly, and ever fiercely, to love without choice, and thus to enter the all, to love it mindlessly, and thus become the all, embracing the only and radiant divine, now as emptiness, now as form, together, and forever the godless search undone. And love alone will shine today. Namaste. And now we go back to Reverend Elaine.
And that was the wonderful Jackie Riker. So thank you, Jackie, for that. And this goes along with the talk that I think Teresa's going to do. I know she changed it a little bit. It's called Thoughts Become Things, and just a little tiny bit of teaching. Thoughts are things, but they're a thing in the non-physical world, and thoughts can become more thoughts, but then eventually they can become physical things. So thoughts become things. Summer into fall, winter into spring. Listen to the call that thoughts become things. Thoughts become things. I let my wishes ring. I'm awakening. The pendulum swings to thoughts becoming things. The blessings they can bring. Aware that I'm aware. My thinking is a prayer. My thinking is a prayer. My thinking is a prayer. Thoughts become things, and my wishes sing. I'm affirming now, God's declaring how each and every hour I tap into the power of universal law. It brings a state of awe. The magic of the mind is out of space and time, out of space and time, out of space and time. I'm opening. I'm awakening. Thoughts become things, the pleasures they can bring, the treasures of a king. I am one with everything. 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 Summer into fall, winter into spring. Listen to the call that thoughts become things. 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 Choose good ones. Namaste.
Indeed. Choose good ones. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Elaine. Oh, and thank you, Reverend Jackie. Wow. Those were both perfect. And Elaine's right. My talk has changed multiple times. I started a couple days ago, and I actually threw all that out and wrote it this morning again. You know, I've mentioned this over the last, I don't know, month. And I haven't put my finger quite on the shift, but I've always thought of myself as rather irreverent, irreverent, reverent. But in the last 30 days or so, I have just been immersed and so aware of the allness, the awesomeness. I have been overwhelmed really with awe, if that's possible, to be overwhelmed with awe. I have been inspired and I have been humbled. And when I can't get the talk right, it's because I have to throw it out and I have to allow Spirit to inform me. And that's my job. That's what I'm discovering more and more all the time. And it's fabulous. It's fabulous to allow God that lead. And there's a fire within me that feels very familiar, even though this last 30, 40 days of this feels new also. So maybe you can understand that. It's a familiarity, like there's just this deep, deep peace, this deep, deep love. There's this deep, deep attachment and attraction to the science of mind. It is who I am, and I can't turn away from it. And I feel just really fired up by it right now. So I want to thank you again and again and again for your support of my ministry, for allowing me to do this that I'm called to do. My ministry must remain relevant, and that we're going to be talking about again today. So I want you to share your thoughts around that. You know, it can be relevancy for me, but I want it to be relevant to you as well. So the more you share your thoughts and your feelings and your ideas with me, your concerns with me, the more informed I am and the more I can respond during these messages on Sunday morning. Last week, and a footnote, a great way to do that is to join us for the Zoom, because we always talk about, you know, what the message was. So last week I asked you, you know, how are you feeling? How are you feeling in the aftermath of the attack on the Capitol? And it had to be rhetorical until we could have our time together after the message in the Zoom room. We touched upon our emotions last week, talking about that, and everybody got to share. And, you know, our emotions come from somewhere, right? Our emotions come from somewhere. They are an effect. They are not cause. And they come from our thoughts. Now, our thoughts come from somewhere. They're also not cause. They're an effect of our belief. Now, thoughts, yes, create things. Yes, that's absolutely true. But there's something always behind the thought. There's some belief system, like a paradigm, right? And all those things add up to our actions in the world. They add up to how we show up, you know? And so it's important for us to be aware of them. Our feelings are to be aware of what we're feeling in our bodies at any place in time is important to touch into, because there's a thought that we're thinking behind that feeling. You know, when I work with children, I like to ask them, can anybody make you think a certain way? And they always say, well, yes, you know, my mother can make me, you know, clean my room. Yeah, but can she make you think? Or can your friend, yeah, but my teacher makes me, yeah, turn in your homework, but can she make you think that you don't want to do the homework? That's your thought. The thought that your mom's mean by making you clean your bedroom is your thought, right? That's your thought. Because you could also think, you know, well, I really want to go outside and play, and so I'll get my room cleaned first. Or I really love my toys and my clothes, and I like to take care of them. And this is how I show that I love them, by putting them all up nicely back on the shelves. There's a million things that we could think, right? So the example, I want to use another example with you, is not the actions of the president that make you think a certain way. Those come from you. Those come from you. I'm going to repeat it. It's not the actions of the president that cause you to think a certain way. Those come from you. If the president caused it, let's think about this. If the president caused it, then wouldn't everybody think the same way? And clearly we don't. It's individual. It's personal. How we think, how we feel, what we believe. And it's that what we believe, that's the energy that's fueling our thoughts and our feelings. So we want to check in with our beliefs. Last week we checked in with our feelings. Today we want to check in with our beliefs. So are we going to hell in a handbasket? Is that what we believe? Or are we breaking through a limitless love? Are we breaking through infinite love? Is something really divine being created here? So before I go any further, I want to address a concern that came up last week. Granted, it was only one person, but some of you might have thought it and not reached out to me. So I appreciate the reach out. I'm clear about my job. I'm clear about my job, and that I teach science of mind, and I teach us and hopefully inspire us to awaken to the infinite possibilities for our lives. And there's nothing in that feels political to me. Anything that brings us into the awareness of God is in my job description. Anything that keeps us from the awareness and the experience of God is in my job description. So I think there's many topics that get categorized as political, but I don't think in any way, shape, or form that they're political. You know, the ideas and concepts of love and kindness and compassion and empathy and support for one another, not political. Hatred, not political. Exclusion, supremacy versus fairness, equality, respect, I don't think those are political. Aggression and violence, truth versus deception, I don't think those are political. The definition of political is the art and science of government. The art and science of government. But I'm going to go a little step further and say, if I believe that everything is God, which I do, which is what we teach, that everything is God, then really nothing's off the table. Nothing's off the table. But my intention is never to offend anyone. My intention is to empower you. That's my intention. And last week it was to show how we have a responsibility to understand and manage our feelings. And today to show how we have a responsibility to our thoughts that power our feelings, that power our actions in the world. Because this is a really powerful energy, creative energy that we're working with. So contrary to maybe what some might hear, I'm not trying to divide, but I'm trying to unite, to bring across this concept of unity in a very practical way that we use it and see it in action in our world, to bring people together. I really believe wholeheartedly in having open conversation. I think it's critical for us to invite other opinions and to open our minds and our hearts to other people's opinions. But I stop, and I encourage you to stop at violence or to stop at hate speech, aggression of any kind. It's counterproductive to our understanding and our practice of unity. And I believe that unity, our oneness, is our salvation. Viktor Frankl said that love is our salvation. So late last night when I was looking for inspiration, I put my hand on A Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl's book, where he writes about his experience in a concentration camp, where he talks about that even there, men, women, humanity has the capacity to deepen themselves spiritually. He said, love is the ultimate and the highest goal to which man can aspire. The salvation of man is through love and in love. He found the ability to know bliss as a prisoner in a concentration camp. He taught us that anywhere, anytime, through any condition, we have the ability to contemplate a greater reality. And by contemplating that greater reality, be transported into a greater reality. He said, the angels are lost in perpetual contemplation of an infinite glory. The angels are lost in a perpetual contemplation of infinite glory. Man, if Viktor Frankl could do that, given the situation that he found himself in, we can do that. We can do that in the aftermath of the violence in Washington, D.C. And unfortunately, there's more expected this week. The FBI has said there's more expected, surrounding the inauguration. There's an uptick in hate speech on social media, and threats of violence at, again, our nation's capital and all 50 state capitals. There's even a rumor, and I'm going to call it a rumor because I don't know that it's truth, but I did receive multiple emails yesterday that there's a rumor of violence towards progressive churches. But staying safe, and that's the collective agreement. This is the United Church of Christ, Affirming and Welcoming Baptist. I got emails from several different places. Staying safe doesn't mean staying silent. And so I'm clear about that too. So again, last Sunday I asked you how you're feeling. And we offered a mindfulness practice to feel into your body. If you weren't with us last week and this is a concern for you, then maybe check out that video from last week. So today I want to ask you how you're feeling, but more importantly, what are you thinking? What are you thinking and what are the beliefs behind what you're feeling? What are you thinking and what do you believe? Science Mind teaches that we believe the ultimate goal of life to be complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that goal is sure to be attained by all. Complete emancipation? Woohoo! That's a tall order, isn't it? That's a tall order, and I wonder then how do we get there from here? Because I don't think we're feeling free. And I think many people in the United States, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, black, white, we're not free. So how do we get there? The same way you would plan a trip, right? When you're planning a trip, you take a route. You pick a route, or your GPS does, and you have to plug in a starting place and your destination. So those are important. And then when we take off, when we set out on this journey, we have to pay attention the whole way. We have to pay attention. We have to watch for signs. We have to watch for indications of where or when we might need to turn, where we might, and if we miss a turn, we might need to make an adjustment, right? We might need to course correct. So the same thing implies on this journey into a new year, or as Jackie read, you know, into the new millennia. I mean, we're just in 2021, for goodness sake. But instead of using a car, the navigation system is our mind. It's our mind. And as a student of Science Mind, I know the importance of where my consciousness is. Where my consciousness is in the experience that I'm going to have, and I need to be checking that at all times. As our spiritual leader of the Centers for Spiritual Living said, Reverend Dr. Edward Villione, I must leave no stone unturned in my consciousness when I feel the tendency to flee. And many of us feel that. Man, we're worn out because 2020 wasn't so dang exciting, or it was filled with excitement, but not the kind we really welcomed. But remember, this is a quote I used a month ago. I used it sometime in December. Ernest Holmes, I love this quote. To desert the truth in our hour of need is to prove that we don't know the truth. It's when things look the worst, he tells us, that we must know that there are no obstructions to the operation of truth. And then we need to throw ourselves completely, he says, throw ourselves with complete abandon into the limitless sea of receptivity, to cut loose from all moorings. Yeah. So ruminating on the past keeps us stuck. Fantasizing about the future isn't helpful either, not unless we're actively engaged with the present moment and getting to that place, because our power lies in the here and now, always. Always. And words that heal, Ernest Holmes wrote, in taking thought for today, tomorrow will care for itself. Today's actions produce tomorrow's results. Amen. Today's actions produce tomorrow's results. So whether or not right now you're focused on what's going on in the country, or you're focused on your own intentions for the new year, you're focused on having great health or financial stability or loving relationships or creative self-expression, I want to cover a few basic Science Mind principles this morning. You know, the basics of what we believe. Because, as Ernest Holmes wrote, there will never be more God, abundance, health, or happiness than is available to us today. We have to encompass right now in our thought all the good that we can ever hope to experience. For out of that thought comes the joy of our life today and the pattern of our experience tomorrow. And Viktor Frankl certainly discovered that too, right? That we can't experience more than we're willing to, more than we're willing to accept, more than we're willing to embody. It is up to us no matter what. And so it's not about us all agreeing. It's about all of us loving. That reading that Reverend Jackie did was just so perfect because it's to love without choice. To love without choice. To have love be a mandate. Love overcomes both hate and fear, Ernest Holmes wrote. However, love does not overcome hate and fear through controversy, argument, or force, but by subtle power, by transformation, transmutation, sublimination. It is invisible in its essence, but apparent through its act. He goes on to say that love is the victor in every case. This is in his book, Effective Prayer. Love is the victor in every case. Love breaks down the iron bars of thought, shatters the wall of material belief, severs the chain of bondage which thought has imposed and sets the captive free. And that, my friend, that is the complete emancipation. Love. Love, 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 love. So there's one important idea that we promote in the Science Mind. And another important idea, probably the very foundation, the first principle that we espouse is oneness. That there's one cosmic reality. All creation originates from this one source. Every being, all of life, in fact, is the creation of God, made from the same substance, yet expresses uniquely as individualized incarnations of the One. Our essence with divine source and substance of all is the same as source itself. It's the same as the creative, intelligent power itself. I said last week, it's like we're mini me's, right? So all those qualities that we attribute to God, and it matters not what name we call it, but this creative impulse of life, this intelligence, this wisdom that's available, all those qualities and peace and love, infinite possibilities reside within and all around us. We are therefore co-creators by bringing forth that which we intend through our thoughts, as Elaine read. And then there's this impersonal law. You can call it creative medium. But it works impersonally. Garbage in, garbage out. Garbage in, garbage out. So our thoughts are important. What we intend isn't necessarily it's the predominance of our thought. So we really need to be honing that skill. We need to be on top of it. We need to be checking ourselves. But it's not always just our thought. There's this thing called race consciousness. That's the term Ernest Holmes used. Jung used collective unconscious. But it's that soup of all thought, the memory of all thought, the history of all thought. And so it is of utter importance that we consciously choose our thought. And we can learn to do that through our spiritual practices, through things like meditation. The physical universe is the body of God. And if the physical universe is the body of God, then there's a perfection there, right? So ideas of supremacy of any kind are completely out of alignment within this principle of oneness. The one lacks nothing. It is whole, it is perfect, it is complete. There's no need to rail against any of it. There's no need to push it away. It is not the devil. We do not believe in duality. There's only one thing. So no resistance required. And I believe that reading that Reverend Jackie did spoke so beautifully to that. So beautifully. My capacity to love, your capacity to love, to think higher thoughts, to choose rightly, to take charge of our own lives, it resides in our oneness. It resides in our awakening to that, into our understanding and our embodiment and our use of it. Yeah. That's our truth, no matter what's going on. So just to recap for you, our feelings then are the outpicturing of our thoughts, which are the outpicturing of our beliefs. And so if we don't like how we feel about things in our own personal lives or out there in the world, we don't like what we see, we want to trace it back to our beliefs. What do we believe? The science of mind offers a belief system built on ancient wisdom, built on universal spiritual principles, built on the idea that there's only one thing ever happening, spirit coming into form by means of me, by means of you. We're immersed in it all the time, and its nature is to love. Are we choosing wisely, as Elaine said? So now let me ask you this question again. Are we going to hell in a handbasket? What do you believe? Or is love revealing itself? Are we on the beginning, on the edge of something magnificent? Yeah. Is there a dawn breaking? Are infinite possibles available, awaiting your choice? I say yes, it is. And so it is. So I'm sure Elaine's got another really terrific song for us. Elaine?
Okay, I'm back. I'm not going to hell in a handbasket, but I'm going to go to that divine lemonade stand. You know, when life hands you lemons, I love making lemonade out of that. So, and she talked about what do you believe? And a belief is a thought we keep thinking, but Ernest Holmes talks about building our future, one belief at a time. So I'm actually going to do 3 short songs here. This is called the Ernest Medley, and it starts out with this one called There's a Power for Good. There's a power for good in the universe, and you can use it if you choose it. There's a power for good in the universe, and you can use it right now. And the power of now is calling me, and the power of now brings me all I can be, and the power of now is listening and beckoning me. There's a power for good in the universe, and you can use it if you choose it. There's a power for good in the universe, and you can use it right now. And the power of I am is calling me, and the power of I am brings me all I can be, and the power of I am and the power of now are beckoning me. There's a power for good in the universe, and you can use it if you choose it. There's a power for good in the universe, and you can use it right now. And you can use it right now. And we can use it right now. So Ernest Holmes talked about when we have a thought or an idea, it's called a spiritual prototype. And I love that idea. It's so scientific, a prototype. And he talks about that we can build our future one belief at a time. So when we have those conscious thoughts, probably gonna get some lemonade. One belief at a time. I'm building my future, one belief at a time. It's nature or nurture, one belief at a time. It is done unto you as you believe, and it comes as you open to receive. You can achieve all that you can conceive. It is done unto you as you believe. I'm building my future, one belief at a time. It's nature and nurture, one belief at a time. I am my own healer, guru and guide. I know that the answers come from deep inside. There's a power for good in the universe, and all is divine. I'm building my own future, one belief at a time. So I wanted to have a little bit of fun with this bridge in the song. There's a zipper line. It just has to rhyme with, and all is divine. So I've been collecting spiritual sayings, maybe mantras, cliches like this. All my needs are met and more, and all is divine. Here's one. What goes around comes around, and all is divine. It is what it is, and all is divine. Here's a new one. Whatever, and all is divine. And my personal favorite, what you think of me is none of my business, and all is divine. I'm building my own future, one belief at a time, one belief at a time, one belief at a time. And just here's a little short one about prayer. There's a universal consciousness that comes with the thought that I am blessed. I know this, I know. And if you want to sing that part, you can. I know this, I know. Because you know, belief is powerful, but knowing is even more powerful. I know this, I know. And I believe in my heart and mind, with the faith of God, that all is divine. I know this, I know. Prayer is communion, a sacred union, a secret place of the Most High. Prayer is an openness and a willingness to see the world with the eyes of God. I know this, I know. I know this, I know. And so it is. I know, and so it is. Namaste.
Good morning, everyone. It's now time for our love offering. And before that, I want to wish you all, my loving spiritual community, I want to wish you all health, wealth, and happiness. And just so you know, Evan will be posting our different methods for you to circulate your blessings today. So be on the lookout for that. And we all know how much I love quotes. So here's a short quote for today. Any person who contributes to prosperity must prosper in return. So with that in mind, please give from an attitude of gratitude today. And now please join me in a short prosperity prayer. We dwell in the midst of infinite abundance. The abundance of spirit is our infinite source. The river of life never stops flowing. It flows through us into lavish expression. Good comes to us through unexpected avenues, and God works in a myriad of ways to bless us. We now open our minds to receive our good. Nothing is too good to be true. Nothing is too wonderful to have happen. With God as our source, nothing amazes us. We're not burdened by thoughts of past or future. One is gone and the other is yet to come. By the power of our belief, coupled with our purposeful, fearless actions and our deep rapport with Spirit, our future is created and our abundance made manifest. We are lifted in this and every moment into higher truths. From this day forward, we give freely and fearlessly into life, and life gives back to us. Blessings come in expected and unexpected ways. God provides for us in wondrous ways for the work that we do. In great gratitude, we release this truth into the universe, working, knowing it is done. And so it is. And now back to Bobby.
Oh, thank you for that, Mike. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy, pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on. Thank you. Oh, thank you, all of you. Mike, there were so many great nuggets in that. Thank you so much. I like that. Circulate your blessings and give freely and what was it? Fearlessly. Ah, man, it's just so good. All of you. Thank you so much, Elaine and Reverend Jackie, and just it feels so grateful for our community, for you, for each one of you. Yeah. I have a few announcements, and so bear with me because I have more than maybe normal, but some really important things to tell you, to share with you. You know, the truth that I shared this morning, the spiritual principles that I talked about, they're everyone's truth. They're not just those of us who subscribe to this philosophy. It's not just for those that are awake. It's for everyone, right? Is for everyone. Everyone has the right to dream big and expect success in their lives. And everybody expects that and has the right to expect that. And so tomorrow is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and so I don't want us to forget that. Last year we had a big concert for it, and really celebrated big. And so I don't want you to miss that, because I think that this is now maybe more than ever really important for us to consider his path of nonviolence and what his life was really about for us. And so I encourage you to find ways to listen in to what his message was. There's movies out there. There's all kinds of things that you can participate in or listen to or read about. But take this nonviolent message to heart and then out into the world, out into public places. As a nonviolent practitioner, you can encourage people in your community, you can encourage people online to use these methods, these nonviolent, these peaceful methods, for the good of their own lives and for everyone else. Now, I will tell you that West Coast Black Theater West Coast Black Theater, has a free virtual performance, I think through Tuesday, available on their website. So go to the West Coast Black Theater's website, and it's a virtual performance, a celebration of Martin Luther King Jr. And also the 18th annual Embracing Our Differences, that outdoor event that's at Bayfront Park, that begins on the 20th and runs through April. And so maybe participate in those, participate in something else. Then I have a meditation for you to join us in. There's a special meditation being done by Patricia Cockerell and Joe Mooey. You know, they have the women's meditation circle. So this is an inauguration Eve Calm and Peace meditation. It's going to be Tuesday evening. Tuesday, the inauguration is Wednesday at noon. So this is Tuesday the 19th, 7 o'clock. It's just 30 minutes. It's going to be led by Patricia. And we're going to collectively set the intention for calm and peace to prevail in our nation. And we will be joining both Patricia and Joe, but also the Venice Peace Project, the Maitreya Center, Unity, Center of Light, Rising Tide, several different spiritual organizations in the area. And this 30-minute meditation will be using the words of the Great Bell Chant by Thich Nhat Hanh, where he says, "May our sounds penetrate deep into the cosmos, even into the darkest corners, so that all living beings can hear them clearly." I will send an email out on how you can join this. It's a call-in number, but it's a call-in number to join this meditation. So I'll put that out in an email before Tuesday, so you have that information. And with that, I also want to remind you of Reverend Jackie Riker's class. It's just four weeks, and then she's going to have a support group after that for subtle activism. And that information has been in our e-blast that comes out on Thursday, so watch for that. Reverend Emil, Rev G, and I both had to cancel our classes because we didn't have enough people signed up. So I'm interested in knowing what kind of events or support would you like from us? Maybe a book study. Again, I'm always open to you sharing with us, and so a good way to do that is to join the Zoom call. When we close, I post the link. It's also in the email on Thursdays, and then you can share your thoughts and ideas with us. Lastly, but not leastly, is Julie Birch's meditation on Thursdays at 6:30. That is just a fabulous, fabulous gift. And I would encourage you to join that for this year. Give yourself that treat. And with that, I'm going to leave and post the link and for Zoom. And I love you very much. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for doing your work in the world and for shining your light. And here's my beloved.
Thank you, Reverend Theresa. Thank you. And anyone who would like prayer support, please email prayer@cslculturalcoast.org. We're going to close with a Daniel Nahmod song, What Kind of World? What kind of world do you want to leave? What kind of world do I want to see? What kind of world do I want to leave to my children's children? Now is the time to make up my mind. What kind of world is this gonna be? What kind of world will be my legacy to the generations for all humankind? It's time to decide what kind of world Will it be peaceful? Well, am I? Will it be joyful and kind? Will it be all those things a child so easily describes? Oh yeah. Will everybody have enough? Will we speak in the language of love? Somehow I'm suspecting it's all up to what you and I decide. What kind of world do we want to have? When will we be ready to start giving back to this precious place? To every young face, tell every boy and girl, what kind of world? Will it be peaceful? Well, am I? Will it be joyful and kind? Will it be all those things a child so easily describes? Oh yeah. Will everybody have enough? Will we speak in the language of love? Somehow I'm suspecting it's all up to what you and I decide. What kind of world do we want to have? When will we be ready to start being that for this precious place? For every young face, tell every boy and girl, what kind of world? Tell every boy and girl, what kind of world? What kind of world?